What's poppin', y'all? For some reason, the masses, and by the masses I mean the minority of hip hop listeners that know about both of these rappers and follow what they've got to say, have tied Kendrick Lamar inextricably. These guys are tied, Kendrick Lamar and Lupe Fiasco, in a way that does not benefit Lupe Fiasco whatsoever. So this clip surfaced of Lupe Fiasco hopping on a live stream with a YouTuber to argue with him.
Oh, my problem is I didn't really have a problem with you per se. What I was bringing out was you had
Because this ain't the first time. Like this ain't
yeah.
the first jump,
What
right?
you
You
did with
you you have like a habit of doing this. So I just want to. I normally get people face to face, whether whoever it be, right? People get my phone number. They want to do it like this. They want email. So anybody that ever says my name and they have a certain amount of kind of clout or reputation like you,
I have
so it's like
clout.
I just if we got smoke. I mean, you got 40,000 followers, right?
Okay, Lupe. You right. I am lit. You right. My bad.
Right. So I mean, you're not like somebody, nobody,
Yeah.
So I give people the opportunity to smoke. So smoke.
Okay. My
What's the
my
problem?
my thing is when you said that comment, you said I'm having a one-sided relationship. Is that the same one-sided relationship that you had with Kendrick name in your mouth?
We're not talking about him. He not here.
But hold on,
I'm
that's
talking
what
about me
that's
and
what
you.
no, because you
We
said
talking
I
about me and
have
you.
you
We
said
talking
hold
about
on,
me and
wait,
you.
Lupe. You
We
said
talking
I
about me and
have
you. We
you
talking about me
said
and you.
wait,
Kendrick
Lupe.
not here.
You said
God's not here. Kendrick's not
where you
here.
come from then? Where you come
Kendrick's
from?
not here. I mean, he's not on his
He's not.
live.
He wasn't here for
He's
you
not
either.
here.
He wasn't here
He's
for you
not
either.
here.
You was talking about him.
He's
You
not
wasn't here.
here.
Hold on. You was
He's
talking
not
about him.
here.
Is it a one-sided relationship with Kendrick name in your
Bruh,
mouth too?
bruh. He's
If
not here.
I want to
He's not
know
here.
okay, you don't want to answer that
We're not
question.
here. And
Okay.
and so me and just to be clear, me and TD are good. The
What's
whole squad
that's
is good.
TD. That's TD.
We all
But
good. We
that's
all
no no
good.
no
There's
no
no
no no no
problems.
no
There's
no
no
no.
problem. Me
Okay,
and
I don't
you
have
got a
no we
problem.
don't have a
So
problem.
he's not
If you
here.
are saying the
Nobody from
same
TV
thing,
is here.
so you saying
Nobody
that
from
you and
PG
Kendrick
Lang is
I'll
here.
let you finish.
We're talking about you and me.
You saying
What's the
Kendrick
problem?
Lamar don't have a
What's the
problem with you,
problem?
right?
You're not Kendrick Lamar. What's the problem?
Why is his name in your mouth? I can't do the same for you. That's what I want to know.
I ain't mentioned Dot at all.
What are you
You
talking
mentioned
about?
him first.
10
I ain't
years?
even said
You've been
nothing.
saying it for you've been talking about Dot for
We're
10
here.
years.
Relax. We're here. I mentioned
Lupe,
Kendrick nowhere.
Lupe,
He's not in the
my
comments. Not
problem with
nowhere.
you was
I'm
how.
talking to you.
Okay,
I'm
I'm gonna
talking
tell
to
you my
you. You're
problem.
not Kendrick
I'm gonna
Lamar.
tell and
You're not signed to TDE. You're not
I'm
on PG Lang. You're a
Lupe,
fan. What's the problem?
Lupe, I'm closer to you than you are to Kendrick. Now, what's the problem about that? So I'm
That's
closer to
crazy.
you. I'm closer to
crazy.
you.
Right,
No, it's
that's
not.
great.
No, it's
Right,
not.
you're his
No, it's
cousin.
not.
Are you his cousin?
So here, the first time I saw this was the clip on X, and it said, during a recent live stream, Lupe acknowledged Kendrick as a better artist than himself, while also claiming there are 100 rappers better than Kendrick. So of course this was, it was titled in a way where I knew that this wasn't what happened. But this is the problem. Every time Lupe Fiasco goes viral, it's because of something that has to do with Kendrick. And it's not because he said something new. Now, he did say something like funny where he was like, yo, you were supposed to have me up here or something like that, or I was supposed to be up there. And it was a joke that he said to his audience in Seattle, I think, under his recent tour, because he was doing a tour for the 20th anniversary of Food and Liquor. Classic album, by the way. Well, he's got multiple classic albums, but we don't need to get into that conversation. So what is the first thing that I did? Well, number one, I was hurt by this. Yes, I was sitting there. I was like, why is Lupe Fiasco on a live with this to Lupe, a random person? I said, it hurts my heart that Lupe Fiasco even interacts with people. His music, and more importantly, his actions, speaks for itself. And I followed this up by saying the whole Lupe Fiasco being jealous of Kendrick Lamar thing is the same as the Logic biracial thing. The masses think they're obsessed with these topics, but it's the opposite. The masses keep regurgitating the talking point, so the artists feel forced to address it. It becomes the predominant conversation surrounding them, similar to Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez. And could this have been prevented for Logic? Not really, because he was always called a white guy. And when he's like, no, I'm in interviews, and he's like, well, no, I'm not white. My dad's black. I'm like half. And then they're like, oh, well, people like Joe Budden still say that he's just a white guy. So they're like, wait, you are half? And then he has to keep talking about it because people keep asking about it. Meanwhile, he's mentioned it barely ever in his mixtapes at all and his albums. Like there's probably 0.05% of words having to do with him being biracial on several different albums. Could this have been prevented for Lupe Fiasco? Possibly, but he just kept getting asked about. He's been asked about many rappers who he's commented on. It's just that Kendrick Lamar is the one that gets the most focus, and it's because he's one of the top 3 rappers right now and has been for 10 years or so, and because they're both lyricists as well. I said if he just said no comment or just lied to everyone and told them what they wanted to hear about Kendrick Lamar, which is blowing smoke up his behind like everybody else. And I want to coin this something I would like to call the stench. So the stench is something that's attached to a rapper or artist that is a negative that they don't want attached to them, that takes away from any good that they might do. So for example, the stench for Megan Thee Stallion, I would say it started off with the Tory Lanez situation. And the stench now is Megan Thee Stallion, not her being a harlot necessarily or an alleged harlot, but Megan Thee Stallion, the stench on her, which is the stench precedes everything else that you do. The music that you put out, anything good that you might put out. For her, it's what man she's with. So the stench came with Tory Lanez. Before that, she was like Megan Thee Stallion. She was just any other female rapper that was very successful. Nonetheless. But then it became the Tory Lanez situation, and that was the guy that she was with. And then Partisan Fontaine became the guy that she was with, and he came to the forefront because he had to defend her activity. And then Blueface talks about being with her, and then DaBaby talks about being with her. And then, of course, she's with Klay Thompson, and then the Klay Thompson situation falls apart. So the stench on her is not, oh, she's been with a lot of males, because that happens a lot. Like, for example, Young Miami. Her musically, there isn't really much of a stench because she's a personality first. Or JT. Like, you don't think of JT as Uzi's girlfriend if you're a JT fan. But for Megan Thee Stallion, she has that stench. Logic, the stench is, oh, that's that biracial guy. With Lupe Fiasco, now it's seen as being a hater. Now, I will tell people something that they don't want to hear. The stench that's currently on Kendrick Lamar, and we're going to see how he shakes it off, is that's the Not Like Us guy. The A minor guy. The guy that beat Drake in a battle, which it's not the worst thing in the world to beat the biggest guy in the game in a battle that people thought you were losing in the beginning and weren't sure if you can take him. However, you being linked to another rapper, and when you're trying to leave that behind, that's a little bit of a tough thing. So getting past this stench part, you know what I did? I did the unthinkable when it came to this. I actually looked up this live stream and wanted to listen and see how this came about. So the reason that this even came together, this had nothing to do with Kendrick Lamar, mind you, zero. So a lot of people think that, yo, this guy just went on live stream to talk about Kendrick Lamar because they just saw the clip. But this guy, Koala T, he was doing a live stream about Lupe Fiasco before he even interacted with Lupe. So the Lupe Fiasco live stream was about his career, where it's like, yo, what happened to his career? Or like, Lupe Fiasco's career could have done better. And he talks some trash. He's mentioned him multiple times. Like, if you just look him up, there's Kendrick Lamar perfected the craft that Lupe Fiasco couldn't on this guy's channel. Technical skill doesn't sell records, the Lupe Fiasco problem. Now, this might be this is the one that got Lupe to hop on, because he's previously talked about Lupe. Like, there's another one. J. Cole says Lupe Fiasco is better than him, that he's mentioned him there. So this guy, he's a former battle rapper. So Lupe gets into contact with him, and he hops on his live. And it's to address this guy's comments on Lupe Fiasco. So Lupe Fiasco is now, I already disagree with this because Lupe Fiasco loves to go back and forth with haters. And it's funny because he's like, yo, I go back and forth with people that talk trash. Sometimes I'll talk to them behind the scenes. But it is good to know that he's accessible to his haters, one of which I am not. So looks like there won't be any accessibility to Lupe Fiasco for me unless I enroll back in university and, I don't know, get my master's at Johns Hopkins or Yale, which I don't think that'll be happening. I'm not getting accepted into those schools. Come on now. And this guy brings up Kendrick Lamar first, and Lupe Fiasco attempts to dodge the entire Kendrick Lamar point.
Oh, smoke.
Okay, my thing is, when you said that comment, you said I'm having a one-sided relationship. Is that the same one-sided relationship that you had with Kendrick naming your mouth?
We're not talking about him. He's not here.
But hold on. No, because you said I have. You said, hold on, wait, Lupe. You said I have. You said, wait, Lupe.
Kendrick's not here.
You said
God's not here. Kendrick's not here.
Where you come from then? Where you come
Kendrick's
from?
not here. I mean, he's not on his live.
He wasn't here for you
He's not
either.
here.
He wasn't here
He's
for you
not
either.
here.
You was talking about him.
He's
He wasn't
not here.
Hold on. You was talking
He's not
about him.
here.
Is it a one-sided relationship with Kendrick naming your mouth too?
Bruh. He's not here.
I want to
He
know
not here.
Okay, you don't want to answer that
We
question.
not here.
Okay.
And so me and just to be clear, me and TD are good. The whole squad is
TD.
good.
That's TD.
We all good. We all good. There's no
No.
problems. There's no problem.
Okay,
Me
I
and
don't
you
have
got a problem.
no. We don't have a problem.
So he's not
if
here.
you are saying
Nobody
the same
from
thing,
TV is here.
so you saying
Nobody
that you
from
and
PG
Kendrick?
Lang is here.
I'll let you finish.
We're talking about you and me.
You saying
What's
Kendrick?
the problem?
You saying Kendrick Lamar don't have a problem
What's the
with
problem?
you, right?
You're not Kendrick Lamar. What's the problem?
Why is his name in your mouth? I can't do the same for you. That's what I want to know.
I ain't mentioned Dot at all.
What are you talking about?
Him first.
10 years?
I ain't even said nothing.
You've been saying it for, you been talking about Dot for 10 years.
Relax. We're here. I mentioned
Lupe.
Kendrick nowhere.
Lupe,
he's not in the comments.
My problem with you was
I'm talking to you.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you my problem.
You're not Kendrick Lamar. You're not signed to TDE. You're not on PG Lang. You're a fan. What's the problem?
Lupe, I'm closer to you than you are to Kendrick. Now what's the problem about that? So I'm closer to you. I'm closer to you.
Right,
no, it's not.
Great.
No, it's not.
No, it's
So what you just witnessed is over a minute and a half of this guy avoiding the conversation about Kendrick. And this guy trying to redirect it. He's like, yo, I came here to address what you've had to say about my career. Because he's saying like, oh yeah, his career could have went differently, which everything could have gone differently. And this guy is talking about, I'm closer to you than you are to Kendrick Lamar. And this is ridiculous. And you want to know the justification that this guy has for it? His justification is, well, you, Lupe Fiasco, sold 20 million records and I've sold 0. Therefore, I'm closer to you. I'm 20 million away from you versus you and Kendrick Lamar. I don't know. Kendrick Lamar sold 50, 100 million. It doesn't matter. The point is, this is such an idiotic and moronic take. And Lupe should have just gotten off at this point in time because he was dealing with somebody that was, I don't want to say he's dumb because I haven't, just from this conversation, and I listened to the entire portion that Lupe Fiasco was on, which is several hours. I will say that my assessment of this individual is that he was not there to listen to anything that Lupe Fiasco had to say. He was there to use this moment. He was kind of fanned out. Obviously, this guy was a battle rapper. He has to respect Lupe Fiasco. It's impossible not to. But I think he was just there to say things because sometimes Lupe Fiasco would be getting to a point and he's just interjecting. And it's almost like there's listening to reply with intention and there's just waiting to speak. And this guy wasn't even waiting to speak. He was interjecting at times. But the reason why I say that this is such a dumb comparison is because the graph of money, the graph of record sales, at least these two separate things, because I'm going to use a comparison with money here, they are logarithmic. So 20 million record sales and 100 million record sales, you've already passed the point of the logarithmic graph where you're really low. So 20 million and 200 million, like these are already the top 0.0001% of art. Like, do you know how many artists, even full-time artists, ever get a gold plaque or a platinum plaque? Like Joe Budden, I think Pump It Up just went gold recently a couple years ago. Maybe he's got one, let's say it's platinum. That's the only plaque that Joe Budden has. And Joe Budden had a successful career. He had a successful music career. He was a professional musician for many years and he was able to support himself and his kids and his whatever habits he may have had during that time through that. So for Lupe, and 500,000 units is gold. And that's with multiple decades it took to go gold, which is surprising to me. I thought that song would have been at least platinum. So you being at 0, you are a mountain away from even 100,000 records. Like I said, the graph is logarithmic. It's the same thing with money. Like there was this clip of Pokimane with Jason Lewine, two streamers.
Well, to me, there's a difference between like you're a billionaire and you can buy power and like you're an immigrant who hustled and made enough for you and your future family. I will never become a billionaire. I ever have even an ounce of that amount of money, you give it away. Like, how are you even hitting the B point?
Hey, speak for yourself. No, I'm kidding.
The wealth disparity is getting bad.
The wage gap, I hate that.
No, wealth disparity.
Wealth disparity.
Wage gap is like between men and women. Men and women, we love each other and we hate the rich. Anyways.
Aren't you the rich?
No. Like the ultra rich, the ultra giga rich, the unnecessarily
You have to clarify.
rich.
They're gonna clip that and it's gonna make you look bad.
Oh.
You gotta say the billionaires.
The billionaires.
Because you are rich.
The Bezos.
So this individual, one of these guys is definitely worth at least 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, and Pokimane is worth at least in the 8 figures. And she's talking about, yeah, evil billionaires and this and that. And their whole point that they will try to make is, well, like we're a lot closer to the average person in salary than we are to billionaires. But that's not, like, this is logarithmic. That's not how it works. Everyone's seen the graph of like how happiness plots to salary, but the difference difference between like a Pokimane does not have to worry about anything that she wants to buy. She can buy anything that she wants. Number one, within reason, but she also doesn't have to worry about any emergency expense. She has enough money that she can handle any random medical bills, anything for her parents, anything that breaks in her home, her car, if it, I don't know, lights on fire or something bad happens to it. She doesn't ever have to worry about rent ever again. She doesn't have to ever worry about where to live. She can live anywhere that she wants. It doesn't matter if she's lower income, and this can be achieved with probably just $250,000 a year. And I would say that's not that far off from Pokimane. Right? Like where you get to, like she gets to live a little bit of a better lifestyle, but the people that she's trying to relate to, they're worried about rent next month. They've got credit card debt. They may need to spend their car. Okay, their tire breaks or their tire pops. Something happens to their car. They get a check engine light. They're stressing because they're like, oh my God, where am I going to find the $500 to pay for this? And you're trying to say that these people have the same problems? No, they don't. Now, does a Pokimane have as much power and influence as a politician in policy? No. Or as a billionaire that can influence politicians? No, but has the freedom of stress that all of these other people have. So that's the point to say is she's up there on the logarithmic graph in the same way that Lupe Fiasco is up there with Kendrick Lamar, and this guy is not anywhere near him, just like we're not anywhere near Pokimane. And she's actually a lot closer to billionaires than we are to her. But of course, she's got to say those points. So circling back, Lupe Fiasco was aware that this was going to harm him as well.
This is gonna hurt me. This conversation with you is gonna hurt me. It adds no value to my situation because
hold on,
people are gonna. I'm lit. People gonna let me. I'm gonna tell you why. Because you're gonna chop this up.
No, hold on.
Wait. Chop this up.
Wait, I'm lit. I don't know how to chop this. This live stream is kind of lit by itself. I'm gonna chop this up. This live stream is already gonna be just it is what it is. So this is lit.
Right, but I'm saying you're gonna chop this up for like you're gonna do something technical with this,
Not
or
for this
people
one.
are just jumping in. No, hear me out. This is beyond your control. Like, okay, so you're not gonna edit it, chop it up, whatever. But I'm saying people are gonna.
I'm gonna lie to you. Maybe I will.
People gonna jump in the chat or your right. So you told me.
I'm trying to make sure. I'm trying to see. What'd you say? Oh, so I'm a now.
This.
Okay, right? So hold on now. Okay, all right, what you saying about Lupe? See, you up there? You try to spin, or you try to say just get under my skin right here?
I'm trolling.
All right, go ahead. My bad. Go crazy, then, Lupe.
So somebody's just gonna jump in because all they hear for is to hear me say Kendrick Lamar. And you know that I didn't mention Kendrick at all.
You did mention my battle, so I said, oh, fair game, right?
No, you mentioned Kendrick.
Okay. I'm talking about this.
I didn't mention it.
I'm talking about the comments.
I'm talking about I didn't mention him at all.
Right.
Right? But there's your fans who are here because they like to hear who hate on who have an opinion on Dot.
We off Kendrick though.
They gonna take that and they're gonna run with that. They're not gonna give a about anything else that we said.
There's nothing else. No, hold on, you're lying. I'm lit.
So exactly what he said happened is what happened. And it even happened in my tweet about this because somebody would say, Lupe could say I addressed it and nothing's changed. And he says, the only time we hear him talk, it's about Kendrick. And then I replied to this and I said, that's exactly what he did in the full live stream. He tried to avoid it. But you didn't click it in response to the person. The majority of other people are not going to click the full live stream and watch it like I did. And the people that were there at the live stream are not going to clip the part where it makes Lupe Fiasco look normal and he's the one that's being forced to address this, or this guy's trying to attempt to force him to address it because it's not going to get the most views. And the only time that you hear Lupe Fiasco talk, unless you follow him, unless you're watching his lectures, if that's the only time you hear him talk, you would hear him talk a lot in his lectures, is when he's on people's feed. And of course, all of the feeds are curated to not just rage bait, but what's going to be the most engaging. And what's the most engaging thing about Lupe Fiasco? Is it dense lyricism? Is it his most recent album release? No, it's not. It's going to be, oh, he mentioned Kendrick again. He hating on Kendrick, especially in a post-Kendrick Drake beef world. So it's never going to deliver the full context. And Lupe Fiasco knew that, and he hopped on there anyway, which I'm like, damn, man, like this. But for everybody that's like, oh man, Lupe Fiasco just hating, this guy's such a hater. Well, he predicted exactly what you were going to do, and you did it anyway. Which it makes the situation hurt me even more because I'm like, you know, you're going into this and people are just going to hate you more for no reason. other than, I don't even know, like the stench that you have on you. Unfortunately, the stench on Lupe Fiasco now is this Kendrick Lamar thing, but he does it anyway. And he tries to explain why his career, because this was the topic of the conversation, why it didn't go the way that this guy felt it could have gone.
My father died.
Mm-hmm.
And my partner Chill.
Condolences.
I appreciate that. My partner Chill,
mm-hmm.
who's my manager.
Yep. Shout out Chill.
This is my manager, right? He went to jail. He went to jail for 44 years. He got convicted. Like soon as the Cool came out.
We saw that, yep.
Right? I went on tour. Went on tour for like 2 years. Right? Hit all my benchmarks from a contractual standpoint.
You were lit.
Right? Did everything that I needed to do. I'm talking internally, right? I did everything that I needed to do contractually, like with the label, right? We went so hard on tour, I caught pneumonia, right? I almost died. So I'm in LA because I can't travel because I got pneumonia. I'm on bed rest. The label comes to me with my 360 deal with I'm like, I'm in my drawers, laying in this hospital bed, fucked up, or in this hotel room bed, fucked up. These give me my 360 deal, looks like a Denny's menu. It's laminated and shit. It's crazy, right? It's laminated. It look wild, right? Mind you, I'm like, they only offered me like 1.2 million, right?
For how many records you had to do?
It wasn't even about records at that point. It was like everything reboots.
Okay.
Right? But they get 35% of everything you do.
YouTube.
They get 35% in any sponsorships.
YouTube.
Everything, right? Touring, the whole shit, right? That's the 360 deal. And then they were on the icing on the cake, was like, yo, if you don't sign this deal, I was like, yo, but I already got it. I'd rather just renegotiate because I hit all the contractual markers in sales and all type of other shit internally within my normal contract. So we supposed to renegotiate so I can get a bigger budget for my next album.
For sure.
Right? The nigga told me like, no, this is your renegotiation. And if you don't sign this contract, if you don't sign this 360 deal, we're never promoting any of your records. Ever.
Wait, so this is the 2007, the Cool one, and then you have
it's like this. The Cool comes out.
You got
right.
Okay, my bad.
No, this is before Lasers.
I know 2007 is Cool.
Yeah,
and Lasers 2011.
So Lasers 2011,
yeah,
right?
Go ahead.
So I'm like, my father's passed. My manager's in prison, right? I got pneumonia, and if I don't sign this deal, these is never pushing any of my records ever again. And this is gonna go back to the title of your last video.
Gotcha.
And talking about careers and what happened to your career.
Gotcha.
And what happened to my career, which is so interesting, even though my career is great.
The element of luck is something I don't think people take enough consideration to when it comes to not making it in music as a career, but in surviving and blowing up. Because there are a lot of negative luck events that can happen. So for example, with a professional athlete, like he talked to this guy and because this guy was a battle rapper for 7 years from the age of 23 to 30. He's like, well, so why did you like quit battle rap? He's like, well, I tried to go from one league to another because of like my homies and I was trying to help them out, something like that. He's like, okay. And then he quit battle rap. He's like, why'd you quit? He's like, well, I wanted to focus on, like, I had kids. I wanted to focus on my kids and do something more stable for them. Otherwise I would have just been pursuing this dream. He's like, okay, so you think that's like a noble thing that you did, right? Put that to the side in order to pursue your battle rap. So he explains to him everything that he went through post the Cool. So his man's Chili, who was also his manager, who was also the guy that was first recording him back when he was 17, that guy got locked up and I think he got like 40 something years, but he ended up getting out early. I think he got out like a couple of years ago. His dad died. He gets sick. All of these things are happening. And keep in mind, Lupe Fiasco isn't even mentioning him going to Atlantic Records was because he thought Jay-Z was going to be an executive there. So Jay-Z loved Lupe Fiasco. He co-signed Lupe Fiasco heavy. So if Jay was at Atlantic Records as an executive, things could have gone very differently for Lupe Fiasco's career. He would have had a favorite. He would have been a favorite of an executive. But what happened instead? Jay went to Def Jam. And you had Leor Cohen at Atlantic. So he came in and the executives, they weren't sure what to do with them at that point. But he had his own deal. He had his own thing going. But as you can see, all of these negative events happened to Lupe Fiasco. This is after he signed and after he has success with his first 2 albums. But like I said, when you're making music and all of this stuff is happening to you, these are tragic events. And that affects the way that you make music, maybe the motivation towards music. And on top of that, we don't talk about this with athletes. Like we see it with athletes, but we don't see it with musicians because a lot of it happens behind the scenes. So for example, you're not going to be like, damn man, like Derrick Rose, like why wasn't Derrick Rose a GOAT? He should have done this. Well, Derrick Rose, and unfortunately this happens in two athletes too, either a bad habit, either stress with a relationship, or the most obvious one, an injury. So being lucky enough to have a durable body to not get injured is a huge advantage in professional. Like Derrick Rose, he got injured. He got a terrible injury. And not only did that affect him, like his game, but his mental. There was another one, I forgot his name, but he was the guy that got drafted number 2 or number 3, or he might have been the number 1 draft pick. But everybody talks about, he was during the Lonzo Ball era. I think they were in the same draft class. And his jumper just like turned to dog water, and he went from one of the best prospects and just turned terrible. And they say it's because of his injury, they say it's because of a bunch of other things. Regardless, that's just unlucky, and there's nothing you can do about that. And a Kendrick Lamar, people will attribute his success to things that he did when it could just be, number one, like Lupe Fiasco talked about, yeah, he has a better team than me. He's better than me at these things. But it could just be he didn't run into unlucky events. And it's that simple. He didn't run into a label that was or a label executive that was like, oh, we don't like you. Well, we're going to put you on the shelf. And then Lupe would continue and talk about how when he knew that his career was done.
But
the label just told me that if I don't sign this deal, they're not pushing any of my records.
Lasers kind of,
and I mean they're not spending any marketing money. They're not taking the radio. Like they're not putting me in the funnel, right? They're not attaching a radio person to me to go to radio stations around the country. I'm not even gonna get access to certain radio stations. I'm not going to MTV. Like you're not gonna be on those schedules. Like it's cooked.
Atlantic Records made it known, right?
Right. We're gonna swap you out for this artist. We're gonna like whatever opportunities is coming in, we're gonna direct them to these other artists.
You said
right?
No,
if somebody wants to, huh?
You said no to the Bob freaking the verse. You're supposed to be you on the Bob verse, right? B.O.B. It's supposed to be you.
Yeah.
You said no to that.
Yeah.
But they was telling you all that wild. My bad. Go crazy.
No, there was a whole bunch of other shit, but I'm not finna get into that.
All right, go ahead.
Right. The moral of the story is a sacrifice.
Yes, you sacrificed it.
And I knew my career was over.
Yep.
So when you talk about what happened to my career was over in 2009.
Yeah, that's
technically objectively.
That was around the time I wanted to talk about the career.
Yeah, shit was over, right?
Okay, go ahead.
But that's me making the decision, the same way you made a decision of choosing Coliseum over RBE.
Yes, I chose then I chose my kids over Coliseum.
Right, then you chose your kids
over Coliseum. But I should have. Man, listen, if I ain't had them kids,
right? So I chose what's the word that you use? Noble
route. Yeah, you chose. That's why I was mad at you for saying
nobility.
You were
right?
when you
to
was
the bone,
saying,
man, I know.
Not you, Lupe.
So here if you've followed Lupe, you've heard the story. Like the whole laminated Denny's contract thing is from Leor Cohen. Leor Cohen's the guy that handed him that. And when I said that this guy's he's not even listening to reply, he's just speaking. He's like, oh yeah, YouTube. I'm just like, dude, this was like in 2007. I don't even know if Timothy De La Ghetto was getting much bread off of YouTube at that point. And this guy's an OG. So everyone says it's like, yo, it's post lasers, but here's Lupe Fiasco saying like, no, my career was done after the cool, after I chose. And he's trying to relate to this guy and saying, hey, look, you chose your kids and that was more of like a noble thing. So you gave up on your dream. And he's like, I gave up on this. And he only wanted to do 3 albums because I wanted my masters and I wanted to, take this noble cause for me. And I was willing to sacrifice my career. And I knew that was going to happen. And this was like he said 2008, 2009. But this guy doesn't relate to that. And I get it. Like he's there to just entertain. And he sees this as an opportunity to entertain his audience. And you can see in the replies of his comments, especially the highest liked replies, they're just there talking about like, yo, this guy roasted him, as opposed to trying to understand anything that he's putting out. So the hours and hours of conversation here, none of this had anything to do with Kendrick Lamar. I do think that he trolled him back when he was like, oh, I can name 100 rappers that are more technically skilled than Kendrick Lamar. But this is the thing. It's like, yo, and then he gets this guy where he says, okay, so do you think you're better than every rapper? And this guy says, yeah. Like if I'm hopping in battle rap, he's like, okay, so you think you're better than Kendrick Lamar? And then he doesn't say yes. because he knows what saying yes looks like, even though him saying, oh yeah, I'm better than every rapper is the same thing, because Kendrick Lamar falls under every rapper. But he's not going to say Kendrick Lamar, this koala guy, because he knows what that looks like. Because now you're going to get all the Kendrick meat munchers, and they're just going to, double M, we're not talking about Maybach music, meat munchers, they're going to come out, and then this guy, they're going to rip through his raps, because I don't think he makes music, and grill him and be his enemy. So unfortunately, this didn't pan out well. I don't even think this guy even took a lesson from this, to be honest. But he did get direct contact with Lupe Fiasco. He got some content out of it. I thank this guy, actually, because this was a great piece of content. I'm glad I got to hear Lupe Fiasco talk about it for 2 hours. We didn't hear any new stories, but nevertheless, it's always good to hear this guy talk, because he has a wealth of experience across many different things. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see you on the next one.